My experience with Living Waters is it's a unique experience because I was introduced to it through my neighbor who also happened to be a pastor of Living Waters, and there was no pressure at all from him. I hardly ever heard, "Why don't you come to my church?" We would just have discussions about church, but then God closed a chapter in my life with my church, and it just seemed like a natural evolution to attend Living Waters.
We came to Living Waters a couple years ago. We were in a place of a stagnant place at the church we were at. We were kind of having problems connecting with people, and we wanted to do some more missional opportunities, and we just weren't finding it there. So we came to Living Waters because we heard of a mission trip here, and we stayed for the service. And what we found through the service was that this was our home.
Yeah, but at the time I was confused as to why this chapter of my life was being closed out, and it was hard for me to try and picture myself in another church, let alone my children. My children were very comfortable at our previous church, and a lot of my feelings were also with that, a concern for them.
We found people that loved us and actually cared about us, and through that, we also came out of our box a little bit, and we were able to finally pursue some of the passions that we had towards missions, and that was something that we were really excited about.
I think I found that where we were at, I was comfortable, and I could have gone there 20 years, and at the end, I would have grown, but I would have not helped anybody else grow. I was in a very comfortable spot, and I probably could have stayed there forever and not realize all that I was missing, helping others and help experience Gretchen's heart. So, but we came for a missions trip, and we stayed, and we're part of a mission now and a home and a family.
But after my first initial visit to Living Waters, it couldn't be more natural. I would look down at my children; they were singing right along. There were personalities at the church that were bright, that were welcoming, and my kids are very all-loving, so that was a natural fit. And as far as me and finding God in Living Waters, it was automatic. It was halfway through the first service that I attended. It was a reassurance from God that this is where I'm leading you, and this is where I'm leading your family. And all honesty, I couldn't be any happier with my experience.
This church and congregation has done so much for me, and I am so thankful for that.
Living Waters is the church that's brought me closer to God because I was brought here by a friend, and it's done so much for me.
Hi, I like kids who get church.
What do you like about church?
I like community snacks.
Carmita and snacks?
Uh-huh.
Anything else?
No.
Yes, God has touched me in my life in a way because He blessed my family with a home and basically giving us more faith in God. I would say, I don't know, I just feel like Jesus is calling me here to church.
What brings you guys to Living Waters?
God. What brings me to come back to Living Waters is to see all the new people and to learn about God and Jesus and how this world was created.
It brings me back because, it's fun here and you learn about so much stuff and it just stays with you till you go out.
Everything.
So there are so many unique things about Living Waters that drew me to the community. One of those things was getting involved in the father-daughter dance last year and just coming and seeing how every member was involved in something, whether it was directing traffic or handing out t-shirts or being in the room with the dads and daughters when they arrived, taking photos. Everyone was engaged. There was no one too young or too old. And everything that we do as a ministry, as a church body, seems to be something that there's a role for everyone. And there's always something to get involved in, whether it's supporting the youth ministry through buying a pie or something that they're doing to raise support for growth. It's endless. The quilts, I show up in church one Sunday and there's quilts all over, and it's because women and men, maybe, I don't know, have been sewing these quilts for months, all year long. Like, it's just ongoing. The servanthood is ongoing. And I come from churches that have been so desiring to reach people who don't know Jesus, but they somehow have missed the ability to engage the new people coming to church. And so it became a small group that served constantly and was worn out and needed to be fed and weren't being, because they were constantly serving instead of being fed. And then all of the people who were new to the church, there was like this fear to ask them to be engaged. And I think you grow more in your faith when you're engaged in serving. So really it was a disservice. But at Living Waters, everyone is part of the mission of the church, whether they have been there for, been in the church for 50 years or whether they've only been in the church for a few weeks. You always feel like a part of the community. And the community is constantly moving, constantly looking for new ways to serve. I just think it models Christ so much, and that's why I want to be there. I want my kids to be there as much as possible. They go to another church with their dad when they're with him, so there's this back and forth, but I just feel like there's a heart of Christ that is alive in the church, and it's alive because the people, each person is so important, and each person brings something to it. And the value of that is communicated constantly, down to how we raised funds to buy the church, and how passionate Pastor Mark was about saying we want to make this decision together, and we want to be very open. The openness and sharing, the transparency, that's all part for me of what makes it so unique and so incredible. And I love, love, love being there for that reason.
In a word, vibrant. In a word, helpful.
Family.
Loving family.
In a word, alive.
Warm and welcoming.
In a word, caring.
In a word, welcoming.